Get comfortable and take off the helmet so you guys can see my face. All right, so becoming a motovlogger is quite the journey, and especially as a new rider, it is extremely difficult. And I'll wrap it up with some of the positive notes of being a motovlogger so that you understand the full spectrum of the positives and negatives before getting into this hobby. All right, so first let's talk about the obvious negative point, which is time. It takes a ton of time from your personal life to become a content creator or a YouTuber or a motovlogger. It doesn't really matter what you call it. If you're out there to make videos for others to watch, it's going to take a lot of time away from your family, from your work. It's just one of those things that you really need to realize how much time it takes. And for me, it takes about good 12 to 20 hours for me to create an episode for you guys to watch. And that's on a weekly basis. You don't have to do a weekly upload, but that's a personal goal of mine that I want to create a video once per week so I can have a great volume for you guys to watch as I continue to grow my channel. That's a lot of hours, especially if you have a full-time job as well as taking care of family. And in my case, I find the time to do my video editing and post-production in the evening, and that's between the hours of like 10 p.m. to midnight, maybe even to 1 a.m. and really screws up with your sleep schedule. Now, if you're the type of person that doesn't have a family that you have to take care of or a full-time job, obviously then you can be a video content creator full-time. But because of financial reasons, like most of us, you are gonna have to have a full-time job, and to balance that between this YouTube content creator or a motovlogger while still retaining your full-time job and taking care of family, it's tough to juggle. And at first it's going to be fun, but then later on you're going to find it very overwhelming with very little payoff. So the second one I want to talk about in terms of negative side of being a motovlogger or a content creator is cost. There's a lot of capital costs to put up forward, like buying yourself a decent camera to vlog with, a microphone, and if you want to add some cinematic shots, then you got to start looking into getting better cameras such as a drone or maybe an Insta360 camera that I got that gives you the wide variety of camera angles that you would want. And those cost a lot of money, and you're not going to recuperate that cost right away. It takes a lot of time for you to actually get monetized. Now, based on today's rules in 2022, to be monetized on YouTube, you need to have 4,000 viewing hours within the 365-day period, as well as at least 1,000 subscribers. And when you start out, you soon realize that is a very tough hill to climb, and most people give up by the time they hit about 500 subscribers because it took them more than a year to get there. And like I said, when you put in the time, which time equates to money, and money in the equipment that you use to showcase your videos, it's not going to be a good payback because it does not equate to supporting the other. So you need to be ready to absorb those costs from the get-go and potentially have an exit plan of how you're going to utilize those equipment for another hobby that could potentially give you some return of investment. And even after you're monetized, like my channel, you don't get that much money back from YouTube as a lot of people might think. Like, YouTubers do not make a lot of money unless you are in like the 500,000 to a 1 million subscriber standpoint. And even then you are hiring staff to maintain that channel, and you're probably not taking home that much money. But majority of the people are doing it because it is something that they love doing. Like myself, I love editing. I love video editing. I love filming. I love coming up with creative ideas of how to portray an idea. Doing it with a motorcycle channel is a bonus because obviously I love riding my motorcycle, my Harley Iron 883. But to be honest, I can completely separate the two and I can start creating a channel about cooking or I don't know, or raising a dog. I would still be very happy as a content creator. So it's very important for you to have passion in this industry if you want to continue on. But as I said before, if you do not have the time or the funds to start your channel, it might be a difficult journey for you to start off in. Now, that doesn't mean you can't start with cheap equipment. When I started my vlogs, I started with a very cheap action camera that isn't a GoPro like this one. Can't remember what it was called, but it was a GoPro knockoff that I bought from Amazon for like $100. And then getting yourself a good audio. As a motovlogger, because there's a lot of wind and exhaust noise, just noise in general, it is extremely difficult to balance a good viewing experience with clear audio as a motovlogger. And for me, I'm still battling that, but what worked for me was a Testcam DR05X that had a lapel microphone that I can insert it inside my helmet here, and it seemed to come in pretty clear, and I've been doing that for a year and a half. I tried different methods, like bought a mic adapter and I bought the media mod, and both of them did not seem to work out the way I wanted, and the quality of the audio did not come out the way I expected. So I'm still stuck with my DR05X from Testcam. But yeah, it's a revolving door of you buying different products, trial and error, and unless you're sponsored, you're gonna be spending a lot of money on creating something that's not gonna give back for your return of investment. Now, the next con that I want to talk about is your mental health. And this is not something to be taken lightly. There's a lot of emotions as a content creator where you would have to check yourself every so often. And I find myself, anytime I create a video that I think would be a big hit and I work a lot of hours, I put a lot of creative juices in it, but then as soon as I upload it, it does not take off the way I expect it to. And that's something that you have to be ready for. Because if you are not used to defeat and possess a little bit of a sore loser mentality, YouTube is not going to be a good place for you because of the YouTube algorithm that is such a mystery for all. If anyone says they figured out the algorithm, they're fucking lying. I thought I did for once, but then once I put up another video that I thought was following the same trend, it just plummeted. And it just doesn't feel good when you put in all that money, all that time, all that effort into a video, and you either get downvotes from people because they just don't agree what you're saying, or YouTube is just not pushing the product to increase the impressions, or just people just don't care about what you have to say. And yeah, it hurts. So something like that is something that you have to be really good at absorbing. We're all human beings and we all have emotions, but if you don't have a thick skin for this, it's going to be very difficult to navigate through the YouTube content creator world. On top of that is being able to socialize with your online community. Now, I want to say that there's a lot of supporters out there for motovloggers. Mostly other motovloggers will come out and bat for you. And the best place I find is Instagram, where there are a lot of motovloggers out there who is willing to have a nice socialized chat with you and give you a little bit of pointers and sometimes a boost on their social media to push your product out to other people so that they can come follow and subscribe to your channel, which is very important in the beginning. But there are, I would say, like 2% of viewers out there that are just out there to make your life miserable, or at least they think they are making your life miserable. Depends on how you take it. But it's just something that you will have to get used to and not be personally affected by it. I personally use it as my own advantage, where if there are any negative things to be said about my videos or myself, then I take that as a criticism and try to find ways or solutions to improve the videos or content for future use. And that's just how I see it. But if you don't have that type of mentality, then again, motovlogging or content creating for YouTube may not be the best suitable area for you. Now, I can see that my camera is going low on battery, so what we'll do is we'll hop on my Iron 883 here and continue on this topic with my GoPro and my Testcam DR05X. So let's get going.
10 seconds later.
All right, so the last thing I want to talk about in terms of the negative side of being a motovlogger is safety. And yeah, as you probably could have guessed it, as a motovlogger, especially if you're doing it live on your motorcycle with your helmet camera and you're recording in the public roads, is that it is very distracting. And yeah, it does have a knock-on effect while you're riding, that you are potentially giving away some of your focus, trying to continue on the conversation that you're trying to record and not paying attention to the road that's in front of you. And that is a big red flag, especially if you're just starting out riding, just like myself 2 years ago. And I kind of knew that going in, but I did not expect it to be that distracting. And I had a fair bit of close calls myself on potentially getting into a motorcycle accident or just dropping my motorcycle because I wasn't paying my 100% absolute attention to the road. And that is a very big no-no for motorcycle safety. And as you witnessed on my channel, I did have a motorcycle accident, or at least my first one. And yeah, I think a fair bit of that had to do with me trying to capture my motorcycle review rather than actually paying attention to what's on the road, because had I not been recording, maybe I would have seen the obvious oil mark on the road. I don't know, but it is something to think about. And I would say for all those new riders out there who are thinking about starting their own channel because, you know, like someone else is doing it, so why not give it a try? I'm not stopping you from doing that. You should not let anyone try to persuade you to stop doing what you want to do as an adult. But my humble advice is not to start one in your first year of riding like I did. The only reason I did my channel was because I could not find any motovloggers out there that was a complete brand new rider who was just showcasing some of the first experiences that he or she was experiencing in the motorcycle community and trying out different bikes as a new rider. And I wanted to see their input, but it didn't exist. That's what kind of gave me the idea of maybe starting out my channel as a new rider, because you are a beginner rider only once in your life, and I thought, why not document that experience? And as I look back, I don't regret doing that at all. I learned a lot as a content creator and got to try out a lot of different motorcycles, more than I probably would have if I didn't start a channel, to be honest. But with that said, there was also a lot of pressure, stress, and costs that were associated with having a channel that I really didn't need. So it's just something that for you to look out for. But as a very brand new rider, I do not suggest you starting out your own channel or vlogging in your first year of riding. So yeah, so enough with all the negativity. Let's talk about the positives of being a motovlogger. Well,